Earlier this week, we heard from a whistleblower out of Georgia. She's a nurse who works at a private prison facility that detains undocumented immigrants. And she said that she was suspicious of the high number of hysterectomies that were being performed on women in this detention center. She felt that the women didn't actually know that they were going to get the procedure and had not really consented to the procedure. Well, now the Associated Press has looked into this story, and they have spoken to some women who have unfortunately experienced this. And here's what we're learning now. An Associated Press review of medical records for 4 women and interviews with lawyers revealed allegations that Dr. Mahendra Amin performed surgeries on detained immigrants that they never sought or fully understood. So there's a specific example of a 39-year-old Cuban woman who was actually told that she would undergo an operation to treat her ovarian cysts, but a month later, she's still not sure what procedure she underwent. So she keeps asking them questions and she can't get a straight answer. She was quoted as telling the Associated Press, "The only thing they told me was you're going to go to sleep and when you wake up, we will have finished." So there was a lack of information, given to her prior to the surgery. They told her that they needed to deal with ovarian cysts. They're not answering questions now. Now, after she repeatedly requested her medical records to find out, Irwin County Detention Center gave her more than 100 pages showing a diagnosis of cysts, but nothing from the day of the surgery. So they just keep refusing to give her the information she wants. So she also kept her hospital bracelet, and that's how she found out that it's likely she was given a hysterectomy. It has the date August 14th, and part of the doctor's name, and it is the doctor who was referenced earlier, a gynecologist linked this week to allegations of unwanted hysterectomies and other procedures done on detained immigrant women that eliminate their ability to have children. That's what a hysterectomy does. It removes either part or the entirety of a woman's uterus.
Yeah.
This is happening in our country.
Yeah.
No, it's beyond bad. I mean, and look, I don't want anyone to think like we don't have a history of this, because we do. California has a history of sterilizing female prisoners. And so it's not far-fetched that it could happen again. And of course, I mean, we're dealing with a private prison that's operating this facility, okay? Strike one. Just read about the history of private prisons and how unbelievably brutal and vicious they've been to people in custody. And then number 2, under the Trump administration that has gone to great lengths to dehumanize people. It wouldn't surprise me at all that something like this would be going on.
Yeah. No, it seems pretty clear that what's going on here is that this private prison company, I think it's called LaSalle, that operates this ICE detention center, like they get paid more if they're billing the government for these surgeries. So, there's, maybe it's not like, the cartoon villain Nazi guy who just like has this mad scientist thing, but it's kind of thing where it's like, they're quick to pull the trigger on, like a little problem, just surgery, more surgery. The more surgeries you bill for, the more money you get paid. You make money on each surgery. It's the insanity of healthcare for profit. It's the insanity of prison for profit. Like it just creates these horrible, horrible incentives, which will eventually win the day. But like you said, this is like, there's been a long history in America of forced sterilization. I know that in Puerto Rico, for example, because they were American citizens and could emigrate to the United States basically anytime they wanted, there was this like panic in the 1930s and 40s that there would be like hordes of Puerto Ricans coming over. So they basically, and that they were gonna like take over, entire cities and things like that. So they basically sterilized almost like a third of the women in Puerto Rico in like the 1940s. Yeah, I mean, it's a very little known story. There's a very good book called The War Against All Puerto Ricans that describes this process in great detail. A guy named Cornelius Rhodes was the head of it. He was then put on the cover of Life magazine for his efforts. But it's just this insane system that we have. And like you said, obviously fomented by the Trump administration. Obviously, these ICE detention centers think they can operate with impunity because no one's really gonna look into them. I mean, the Trump administration is not gonna look into them. They're not gonna care if there's rampant criminality going on. So yeah, I mean, it's it's horrible. I don't know like what else to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the stories. I mean, there's no, what analysis can we give other than this is brutal, horrendous, and this is, I mean, again, if there's a profit motive here, of course, whenever there's a profit motive, whenever there's an opportunity for a private corporation, in this case LaSalle, to increase their profits by billing the government for certain medical procedures, then yeah, they're going to take advantage of that. They're going to abuse it. We've seen it happen in a number of various contexts. And it doesn't matter, like there is no question about morality here. I mean, obviously we find it immoral, but when it comes to a private corporation and its financial interests, they're not thinking about morality. They're thinking about their bottom line, and they're thinking about their investors. That's how this works.
Yeah. It's the insanity of taking things that should be public goods, public, operations, publicly funded things, and taking them private and putting in a profit motive. I mean, there's going to be abuse in that sense. It's just someone's going to take advantage of it. Someone's going to do it, and we just have to take away that incentive. Like, yes, we can morally shame and condemn these people as we should because they are monsters, but as long as the system remains in place, there will be others who do the same. The sort of like we're gonna hold them accountable or whatever. Like eventually, it's gonna happen again and again. You need to eliminate the profit motive altogether from healthcare and from prisons. 100% full stop.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.